9 halfway through the first half, and then it looked like you guys started getting in the paint with the paint touches you were talking about. How much were you emphasizing that, and what did it take to make that start happening?
It was an emphasis for us in practice, an emphasis for us out of every timeout, and that's what we talked about after the game. Give our guys a ton of credit. They adjusted extremely well. It just took a little too long. You know, we knew going into this game we needed to get the ball to the paint. We settled, still a few shot selection issues, but I give our guys a ton of credit. We talked about when we were struggling to make shots in the A&M game, our defense let up once we got going offensively. Tonight, our defense was consistently good, and I thought that was an important thing to note too. So glad we were able to figure some things out there offensively. Like to do that a little bit quicker next time, certainly.
It seemed like Devin had a lot to do with that. He seemed to be aggressive when he got his touches. How much did he key that aggressiveness, I guess, from you as a unit, and what did you see from him, the way that he was able to carry that on throughout the game?
Yeah, we had a conversation a couple days ago, and I think at that point through 3 games, he maybe had 1 free throw attempt, and we talked about being aggressive. I believe in the versatility of his game, and I thought he showed that. We know he can make some shots on the perimeter, but you know, tonight, like, he took what we talked about, you know, literally got to the free throw line, which I think is important for us. He can do that. He's such a force, you know, driving the ball. I believe he can make shots as well. He's already hit a couple this year from beyond the arc, but I thought he was settling there for a couple games almost too much instead of, you know, showing his whole kind of all he could do offensively. So I was really proud of how he adjusted and took the conversation and went out and executed.
Go ahead.
You guys were 3 of 15, I think, shooting to start the game. I looked up a little bit while later, and they were 4 of 28 at one point in the first half. Are you, I guess, have to be pleased that they didn't tie not so good offense to not playing defense? I mean, at least through whatever you were going through offensively, you continued to hammer down on the defensive end, I guess.
Yeah, I thought it showed great maturity and connectedness from our team. You know, again, there's a lot of newness. You know, we talked about the newness in the program, and what I've been really impressed with is how connected we've been defensively. And I think you saw that, and we talked about it after the last game. When we came out of halftime, we were much better in that second half offensively. Our defense wasn't as good as it was in the first half. Tonight, we stayed consistent with that. We didn't alternate. We were consistently good defensively, and against a team that I think has some really good players and some good offensive firepower. So I was really impressed with them, Steve.
Colin White, it feels like when he gets in the game that some good things can happen. Is he a guy that maybe when things are not going the way you want offensively, you can put in there and he'll make the right play and get the ball to the right person at the right spot? Is that maybe a role that he can fill for you guys to help you kind of get through some tough times at different points?
I think Colin's just his work has been really consistent, and we're starting to see, you know, the growth that I think you saw tonight, Steve, in the game. We're seeing that more and more in practice, and it's starting to get more consistent. I've spoken about this. He's a winner. He impacts winning. He always has. He comes from a great program. He's been well coached coming in, which helps that transition from high school to college. So, you know, hopefully he can continue, and I have every reason to believe he will continue to grow and get consistent as practice builds on and he gets opportunity in the game.
Just going off that point, do you expect to see Colin more on the floor, or was a big reason of that because you didn't have Quez or another guard tonight?
Yeah, listen, it's a gift and a curse having a deep team, you know, and what we're trying to do, certainly, I think we have flexibility on any given night to adjust maybe our rotations to give us an advantage in any particular game. So we're getting more and more confident. I think guys are getting more and more confident as we continue to build through this early part of the non-conference season. So I think certainly Quez being out impacted maybe some of that first rotation for him, and he went in, he played well, and you could feel his energy and toughness, and certainly his shooting. We're big believers in that. He's worked really hard over the last couple of years to get better at that. And I was happy for him to get some validation because he's going to make a lot of shots in his career here.
Particularly in the front court, it seems like the bigs really came up much bigger tonight, especially with obviously Devin and Evan. Could you speak to the status of Sean at all?
Yeah, not yet. He's being evaluated, but got to talk to him and see him. But I think while we're on the subject of Sean, nine rebounds in 11 and a half minutes is really impressive. I thought he played so hard and played tough. We just got to find a way to maybe foul a little bit less. But Evan, his rebounding, Devin's rebounding. I thought Aaron had some improved defense on the interior, and they're a hard guard for forwards because of the spacing. They have everybody can shoot, and I thought what was most impressive is our forwards anchored our defense and executed our game plan really well. Aaron, Devin, Sean, Evan, all deserve a ton of credit for that.
Jake, in the media day, you talked about Devin trying to shoot more threes, expand his game, and that you had a moment with him this summer where you had to tell him, like, don't forget what makes you you, don't forget what you're good at. Do you think that he has taken it upon himself to kind of master that balance? Like, he didn't shoot a three today, he didn't even try to shoot a three today. I'm sure that there are times when he'd like to shoot a three, but he took better shots today. Do you have to kind of talk to him to help that balance, or do you think that he's maturing and he's identifying where the spots are to take those shots?
I think it's both, but make no mistake, he's gonna make some threes this year. There's no doubt about it. He's done it consistently in practice. What I thought was a sign of a really mature and player and growth, because he took what the game gave him, and he it was on his terms, offensively instead of maybe the defense's terms when he caught the ball. But when he's open from three, he needs to let that fly, and we believe he can make that. He believes he can make that, and he will make threes this year. But it can't be, and he and I have talked a lot about it, as you add to your game, don't change your game, right? Add to your game, grow your game. We want to be a program that is consistently pushing development, and push development all season long. We do skill development every single day, and we want to keep in practice, and we want to keep working that throughout the course of the season. But as guys grow and their game matures, I thought that was Evan's growth and basketball maturity was on full display tonight, because he didn't settle one time. There wasn't one time he settled. I'd have to go back and look if he passed up a three he should have taken. I don't remember one offhand, but he might have.
I don't know if he passed one up, but
yeah, but I thought he was really good tonight.
Jeff?
Points of emphasis at this stage of the year, you talked about the paint touches and everything. What other things are you, like, guys, we gotta get better at these things right now before we get into the fifth game and Big Ten stuff and all that?
Yeah, well, we gotta get better for our next game. But rebounding and turnovers, I think those two things, are again, I thought we came out a little slower than I'd like us to be to start the game. I'd like our pace to be a little bit more impactful to start the game. We got better as the half went on, and certainly played with good pace in the second half, but those are the biggest things for us.
So the rebounding, I mean, obviously there were a lot of opportunities to get rebounds tonight, the way you guarded their shooters and everything, but is it the parts about rebounding of getting in position and all those kind of fundamentals about it? Is that the part you're really working with these guys on that they need to get better at?
There's technique that we practice, and there's some rebounding rules we have, like who's going to the offensive glass, who's not. I thought you saw a couple times, we talked about just the long shots, equally long rebounds, and a couple times our guards ran too deep into the paint, so little things like that. But what I'm evaluating is our fight and our intent when the shot goes up on both sides of the ball. I think that's been pretty good. We had a lull last game, didn't do it as well as I would have liked us to in the first half this game, but second half was better. And so I just think we have some gifted, as you can see, and as you've probably seen this year, we have some gifted individual rebounders. You know, our forwards, they're athletic, they're strong, they have great instincts. And Aaron was more Aaron last game. This game it was Sean and Evan and Devin. Like I think rebounding can be a strength for us. It has been at times. There's a consistency required, particularly in our league. But this next game, it's going to be important, and it's going to be important the game after that, certainly.
Michi was 5 of 8 from the floor, had a season high in points. It seemed like he responded well to maybe a rough routing against Texas A&M. When he's efficient offensively, what is he doing well?
He's slowed down in paint. I thought he had some great drives in the second half and played with great poise. Certainly got credit for a couple assists, but it was even another drive or two that he tested the defense and we got it back out, because nothing was there. Again, I know how good of a player he is, and I've never wavered on kind of when it was going to start to click for him. I thought we saw that, particularly in the second half. And he's got to stay aggressive. He's got to stay confident. He's got to keep attacking, keep being the threat he is outside. His efficiency from three has been great, so far this year. And so I think, maybe I can't remember if he had all three in the first half, or maybe 2 of those turnovers were in the first half, but second half he was really good on his attack and his decision making, and you saw him slow down a little bit there in the paint, which was great to see.
Colin, in a game like this, how important can that be for a young player who may or may not, as you said earlier, get minutes in some other games, to get this opportunity and then to play as he did, and he seemed to learn on the fly a little bit.
Yeah. Listen, we have great belief in Colin in this program, like great belief, and he's getting better and better each day. And I was just happy for him to see the ball go through, because I know how hard he works, on that. And I also, defensively is an area we've really challenged him with growing, and I thought he was good tonight. So that was all really, really positive. He should be coming out of this game with a boost of confidence. Not that he lacked confidence, but I think he certainly should feel a little extra boost.
And Devin obviously went through some of this last year as a freshman, and we saw kind of the end result at the end of the year. Gary said that he wanted to bring Colin with him to do this interview. Just the ability of recognizing what a young player is going through because you just did it, and then trying to help bring him through it. Similar path, sort of Ohio guys, Ohio Miss basketball, just that relationship and kind of how they can help each other maybe.
Yeah, I think this is a really connected group. That was a great example of that when Gary told me that. I thought that was really, really cool. And it's certainly one thing to come from a coach, and Colin and I love the relationship we have. You can coach him hard. He's got a great joy to him when he walks into the building. He works extremely hard. Fun to be around, in the gym, out of the gym. It means maybe just it hits a little different when someone is kind of communicating those same things, who actually walked in those shoes, and who was and recently, and recently. So it's great by Devin to recognize that, and again, I love how close this team is, the connections we have. Our chemistry between the lines will continue to get better as it has been. But off the court, it's been great.
Defensively, not your best offensive in the game. Lowest points allowed from the Buckeye team since 2008. Can you just talk about how big that is, that your defense can step up like this when your offense may not be there?
Yeah, well, I think our offense wasn't great for 10 minutes or whatever, 12 minutes. It was pretty good, there for the end of the first half and the second half. But listen, we want to play. We talked about this. We want to be tough-minded. We want to play together. Like we are a good, two-way team. This isn't a one-sided team, and we have good two-way players. That's where it starts. But the buy-in our guys have had, I think our staff deserves a ton of credit. The experience that we have on staff, the ability to help our team prep and do it in a way that information can be received well and then go out and be executed. Give our staff a ton of credit for that. But I think our old guards, help lead the way for us defensively. Like I said, our forwards were great tonight defensively, anchoring our defense. So, we can be good at both. We have been good at both for stretches this year, there's no question. But I certainly will not complain with a consistent defensive effort like we had tonight.
Let's go through Patrick.
Yeah, it seemed like Evan provided a bit of a jolt at the middle end of the first half. Loose ball, deflections. There was one loose ball where I saw that you had a pretty good reaction to it, pumping your fists and everything. So, I guess what kind of energy jolt did he provide when you guys were in that little lull in the beginning of the first half?
Yeah, Evan can be really impactful when he's being aggressive and he's playing and aggressive on both sides of the ball. I trust Evan. He's got great basketball instincts. The biggest issue that he and I continually talk about is just staying aggressive. And that's both sides, being active defensively, getting deflections, getting rebounds, offensively driving. He had a couple good drives. He was active on the glass. I think he got to the free throw line. Yeah, got to the free throw line, and he's been shooting. He'll make those. So I thought he was good tonight. And to your point, you could feel his presence on the court, and that's what we talked about. He's capable of that, and we need him to do that. Every time he's out there because he can be impactful with his versatility.
I guess how could he sustain that? Is it something in practice that you work on with him, or just more of a mentality thing?
It's a mentality. It's something we talk about, and we hold him accountable to that. And he's embraced